Today is January 20th, 2025. This is video number 8. And the topic of this video is going to be a few topics. One is corrections. I keep getting the dates wrong. I keep on saying 2003. It was 2023 or 22. Add another 20 years to all my numbers. It's bad. The other thing that was really bad, I quoted the wrong price from that hardwood repair. I had to look at my check carbons. It was the wrong number. It was half of what I said. It was 4,000, which is a very decent number for the work he had to do. Not unreasonable at all. He had to pull out all of the old wood, the old hardwood, and he had to buy new hardwood, so there's materials, and he had to bring in these machines and sand the planks down to the same level as the rest of the floor. It was a lot of work. But given the scope of the job, I trust him, and I think it was a fair price. John Welsh, call him for your hardwood repairs and installations. He's your guy. The other one that I needed to mention, I need to go back to the Ben Franklin near disaster, near catastrophe. What happened was that because of that flood, I had workers in the basement, and there's an extra bathroom in the basement, and the guys were calling upstairs to me and saying there's a flood downstairs. There's not just a flood, but the flood that happened from the upstairs bathroom was what they were repairing. What they were saying was the downstairs toilet is leaking. And I said, oh dear God, how much problems am I going to have with water this year? My God. So I said, dear heavens above. So again, amygdala, bing, fear, danger, Will Robinson, danger, right? So I called Ben Franklin, and they sent a plumber. I will say one thing for them, which is how they probably stay in business at all. People who are well off can afford them. Normal people can't, because they try to upsell you on everything, but they do good work. And more importantly, when you call them, they're 24 hours. They answer the phone. A lot of plumbers just blow you off. You call and call and call, and they're like, niente, nothing. They're not going to answer because they don't have an answering service, and they don't have, I don't know, they just don't answer the phone. I don't know why, but that's how they have their edge. So I have to hand that to them. Now, what I don't compliment them on is you're upselling and you're cheating people. You're cheating people. And you could destroy a person like me, destroy me. If I had signed up for that other loan, I would have had to sell this house. I would have been bye-bye, bye-bye, bye-bye house, bye-bye, bye-bye life, because there would have been no way I could afford to stay here with all these monthly loans, right? So I call up and I say, the toilet is leaking in the basement. So he comes over right away, 24-hour service. He comes over, he puts this little camera down the pipe, down the waste pipe, and he shows me the feed, and I'm looking at it like, what am I looking at? It looks like a pipe. It looks like the inside of a pipe. It didn't look like it was blocked. It wasn't like, it's copper. I don't think copper can rust. It's K-copper. It was the best they had in those days. And it's very good. It's very good material. So he said, well, you need to replace the waste stack. And I said, I do. And he said, yeah, can't you see? I said, I'm looking at something, but I don't know what I'm looking at. I'm looking at what you're looking at, but you know what you're seeing, and I don't. So what happened then was interesting, because John Welsh, the honest one, the honest guy, he overheard this conversation, because we were out in the front yard and we were in the house and we're talking and everything. He overheard the conversation. And now here's what's scary. What's really terrifying is I agreed to it. Verbally. I don't think I signed anything, thank God. I agreed to it. So the next day, they were supposed to bring this digging machine over, right? When they came to the house, they realized they didn't have, because of the way the house is positioned, it's very dense. The houses are close together in my neighborhood. And the way the yards were and everything, they didn't have the right digging machine to unearth the waste stack. Hallelujah. Alhamdulillah. Thank God. Thank God. And that was nothing that I did. That wasn't self-protection. That was just happenstance. That was the grace of God, the grace and mercy of God, that they didn't have the right digging machine. But they were going to send one over and dig up the whole yard to get the waste stack free and replace it with something I didn't need at $30,000. So yeah, they answer the phone all the time, but then they cheat you out of a ton of money. So I don't think that's necessarily a win. I just wish regular plumbers, please answer your damn phone or get a high school kid or somebody, hire someone. If your wife is at home, let her answer the phone. She's probably not at home. Anyway, here's what saved me from all of that. John Welsh, once again. See, it went from Marty to John Welsh to this guy. It's either, I don't remember which one it was. It was either Jason or Jay. Jason Mondrosh or Jay Miller, and they were all out plumbing. And I think it was Jason who came over, but don't quote me on that. This is the honest one. This is the honest plumber. Take note of, oh, my hand is covering the, shoot. Darn it. I'll put this in the comments. Don't worry. Honest plumbers. Honest plumbers. This guy came over because John Welsh recommended him, and I said, yeah, I get a second opinion. That makes sense. So the honest plumber came over, same machine, same camera, same visual feed that I saw. And I said, I'm looking at the same thing, but I don't know what I'm looking at. And he came up with a long stick and he said, you see these? Baby wipes. He said, don't flush these down the toilet. That'll be $300. Here's my sticker. And I said, gladly, I will gladly pay you $300 for this assessment because you just saved me $30,000. And listen, folks, I was going to go for it because, again, I was terrified. I was scared. I was cowering. What Ben Franklin guy said, you're going to be covered in sewage. Who wants to be covered in sewage? That's disgusting. The yard is going to be covered in sewage. The house is going to be covered in sewage. Sewage everywhere. You're going to have sewage. You're going to be soaked in sewage, he said. This is the Ben Franklin plumber. Yeah, they answer the phone all right, but maybe you don't want them to. Maybe you don't want to talk to them. I cannot recommend people who do things like this. It was bad enough I found my husband dead on the couch. Wasn't that bad enough? And go into a state of shock to the point where I couldn't think straight. I could not think straight. And fear takes over. This goes back to the brain discussion. Fear takes over, and it takes over your whole brain because who wants to be, first of all, you're living alone in a house. And, Terry used to do a lot of the odd jobs, the husband, the honey-do list. He put in a faucet in the kitchen sink downstairs in the basement. He put it in all by looking at YouTube videos. YouTube, I tell you what, YouTube is the best ever invented. So he watched YouTube videos and he put in a faucet that went to the outside himself, saved like hundreds and hundreds of dollars in plumbing charges. He did it himself. And he put in a faucet in the sink downstairs. He put it in himself. He installed televisions. He did a lot. All the cars, we never went to unless we absolutely had to. We never went to a car mechanic because he was a gearhead. He used to, in the Navy, he was trained to repair the helicopters. So he was a gearhead. He was like a grease monkey kind of guy and a priest. When he didn't have his hands full of grease, he was a priest with clean hands. Lavabo. But anyhow, so this is the thing that was going to cost me $30,000. A frickin' baby wipe. Sorry about that. A baby wipe. White flag. You call them. You call John for hardwood. You call John Welsh, and for plumbing, you call these people if you're in the area. You call them. Don't call Ben Franklin. I'm sorry, I cannot recommend them. I can de-recommend them because I was going to agree to that $30,000. Oh my God. Because why? Because he made me afraid. The F word. He made me fear. And the fear was, I'm living alone here. Am I really going to be able to take care of this house by myself? Terry's not here to do all these little odd jobs and also to be counseling and having another brain to think about the decisions, right? To have another person to consult with. He wasn't there. And I was afraid. I was afraid that the house was going to get over my head and there was too much to take care of and I can't. So I started calling these people, electricians, which I would call anyway because I can do minor basic carpentry, but that's all. I can't do. And tile laying, oddly enough, because I learned how to do that years ago. I taught myself. That was weird. I don't want to do that again. I'll hurt my back, but I can do it. I can do tile laying and I can do very, very, very basic carpentry, and that's it. Plumbing and electric, no. So you call people, because when I called these people, they came over, they were very nice to me. They were talkative, which I like, right? And they were company. And for this, I got on the hook for $18,000, Terminex 10,000 to get rid of mice, and 8,000 to put in an electrical panel I never needed. And then what was even worse is I agreed to it. I agreed to it because who wants to be living in a pile of sewage, right? So Ben Franklin sold me on this because they said, Pilot, you're going to living in sewage everywhere. And then All Out Plumbing came over with the same exact camera, the same exact picture, and the same exact feed. And he said, you see these? He put it on a stick, on a long stick. He said, you see this? Don't flush these. $300. I said, gladly. Here you go. Here's your $300. Thank you. Because honestly, if they had had the right digging machine, I would have been dust. I would have been done for. And that was, so I wanted to do the corrections. I keep saying 2003, 2002, and 2000 and wrong. It's 2022 and 2023 and 2020 something. It's always add 20 years to that number. I keep saying it. I keep watching the videos, and I said it again. I said 2002. It was 2003. Here's the right chronology, the correct chronology. Terry and I met in the year 2000. We got married in 2003. He served as a priest all of that time that I knew him, basically 22 years. He was still serving as a priest. 22 years of our connection with each other, and then of his priestly time. I mention that because it's significant for a different reason that I'm not going to mention right now. But anyhow, so that's the chronology. We got married in 03. He died in 2022. 2003, marriage, live a life. And then 2022, that's when he passed away. You know, if you're older or if you're younger, go to the doctor at least once a year and get a darn checkup. You know, it's not going to kill you to go to the doctor and get a checkup. You know, there was an argument that I kept having with him, and because I was so busy with work, I just didn't have enough energy to like nag him enough. If I had nagged him enough, I could have gotten him to go eventually, because just nag, nag, nag. Go to the doctor, go to the doctor, go to the doctor. And he said something funny, like an old Italian man off the boat. He said, what if they find something? I said, if I go to the doctor, they'll just find something. I said, you'll find something and then they can fix it. I don't understand people sometimes. Anyhow, that's the video was this, to recommend 2 workers, and the number was wrong for the repair. It was half of what I said. I said 8,000. It was actually 4,000 because I got my check carbons. I went and got my check carbons to verify because I said that number didn't sound right. It was half of what I said, and it was appropriate. John Welsh, hardwood, All Out Plumbing. And don't call these other people because you're going to regret it. You're going to regret it. You're going to be sorry. And I really don't care if they don't like my videos and outing them, because they need to be outed. And the whole purpose of these videos that I'm making is warning widows. When you're a widow. Oh, and the other thing is all of these things that kept happening with people coming at me looking to extract money from me in different ways. And there's more than just what I'm mentioning. There's more coming down the pike. It's a form of elder abuse. Now, I have a headband on and I have long hair, but I'm 66 this month. 66 is 66. You can't change that. That is constant. I mean, all the gray hair is covered up by the headband. I might dye it. In the next couple of videos, you might see a different color. I'm tired of looking at the gray. I really am. But anyhow, your brain is the age that it is. Doesn't matter what your skin looks like or your hair or anything. Your brain is the age that it is. Whether or not you look 80 or you look 50 or 40, it's the age that it is. And when you lose a spouse, especially in the way that I lost it, with a boom like that, all of a sudden, we were talking the night before. We were having like a random conversation, just normal. And I said to him, he had a part-time job and he was out in the sun the day before he died. Never heard from that company either. Isn't that interesting? It was a dispensary for cannabis. And I called them and I said, my husband passed away. He won't be coming back. And they're okay. Didn't say I'm sorry. Oh, gee. I think they were afraid of a lawsuit too, which I probably could have brought because they left him out in the sun working the whole day and he was sweating. But the heart problems were there. It was pre-existing. So, I don't want to get into all of that, but you could at least say I'm sorry for your loss. Didn't. Nothing. Niente. But it's elder abuse. All of these things are forms of elder abuse. And by the way, and this is another reason I'm making this podcast, I actually called. There's a state office for elder abuse or elder concerns. There's a federal office. There's a county office. I explained the situation to all of them. You know what they said? We don't care. He said, we hear, one of the people I talked to on the phone, she said, we hear this every day. I said, well, if you hear it every day, maybe you should do something about it. She said, well, this is not what we're really focused on. I said, well, what are you focused on? What those officers are focused on are caregiver abuse in nursing homes or in private homes or something that's caregiving. Like if you're obviously I'm not bedridden, thank God. I'm able-bodied and I can get around, I can do chores and whatever I have to do. But some people, especially as they get much older, are bedridden. And once you're bedridden, you're very vulnerable. And so what they're focusing on is really they're looking at nursing homes. I don't think they're looking at private individuals at all. So they were useless. I'm from the government and I'm here to help. Yeah, right. Remember this, the white flag, the white flag of all out plumbing. Don't flush baby wipes. And don't flush baby wipes. Next time. See you next time. Peace out.